Good afternoon and welcome. Welcome indeed, yes, to another edition of the Mark Mosey Show podcast. As we're always broadcasting from the Anidjar and Levine Accident Attorney Studios. Take back control of your life. Yes, do it today at 1-800-747-FREE. That's 1-800-747-3733. It's Anidjar and Levine Accident Attorneys. And to recap the NFL draft, as we do every Monday after the draft, is with this great guy. He is Luke Easterling with Athlon Sports. I know he hasn't slept in a couple days. Luke, how you doing today, buddy?
I don't actually the best thing, Mark, about moving to the West Coast is that I have slept like a baby the last couple of nights
Oh,
because the draft gets done 3 hours earlier now. So
that's
I'm
right.
not in Tampa where it's 2 a.m. and I'm still hammering out grades. It's 11 p.m. and I get to bed by midnight and it's glorious, my friend.
All
So
right. Before we get to your draft trades, I just want to go over this with you then, especially Thursday night, opening night. You and me are old enough. We remember when it was 15 minutes between picks. Then it
yeah.
was 10. Then Thursday it was 8 minutes between picks, and the teams, they couldn't help themselves. Did you like this, how fast it went Thursday nights?
I mean, part of me does, and part of me misses I would imagine, especially in the room for the teams, it's a pain in the ass. Like
Yeah.
there's not much time. Like, especially you're trying to get trades. Like, you have to understand, like, you can do as much prep work as you want, but when the clock is running, it goes very, very fast. And things can change very quickly. So you got to understand the way this goes down. If you're negotiating with a trade with another team, you have to agree to the compensation. Both teams have to call the league and report the trade, and your report, like what you're comping, has to match. Like, you have to tell them, hey, this is what the trade is. The other team has to trade. If there's any discrepancy whatsoever, it doesn't go through. So, like, if there's an issue, like, it's just 8 minutes is not much time to make sure that you get all that done. That's all I'm saying. So it makes me feel it's not as bad, but it's like the pitch clock, where it's like, I know that it accomplished what they set out to, which is to make the game shorter and make people who maybe don't watch baseball feel like they can watch baseball. But for, like, the baseball purists, I hate the pitch clock. It's ridiculous. Like, I like 3.5 hour baseball games because that's why I'm watching a baseball game. I want it to go on forever. It's fun. It's chill. I don't want a pitch clock. With the draft, it's kind of like, yeah, it made it quicker. And so, like, that was more effective, especially for, like, doing my job and stuff like that. But, like, I don't know. I like the storm clouds to gather. I like every pick to have a little bit more time to breathe.
There was a point there. I think the Saints were picking at number 8. But then online we're hearing, oh yeah, the Cowboys they traded up to 11. So you're like, whoa, let the kid go up there, get his hat, let him get
Yeah.
his chance. No, we got another trade. Oh, then we got to do this pick. I didn't like that part.
Well, and that's another big problem with the 8 minute thing that I didn't even say, is that it made the TV production way worse, because
Yes.
we knew, I mean, even if you're not looking for the tipped picks, like, I knew, again, like you said, somebody had traded up to the pick 3 or 4 picks from now, and they're holding that pick because they're at a commercial and they want to come back because they have, listen, ESPN and all them, like, they have set, like, okay, when we get to this team's pick, we've got this segment that we've done, or when this player gets picked, we've got to hold it because we've got this whole thing set up and this whole, like, presentation for the TV audience about this. So if this guy is about to get picked and we know it, and we're at commercial or something else is going on, and Peter Schrager's on TV explaining something, like, we've got to wait and wait and wait and wait and wait. And by that time, like I said, the league didn't stop. The league never stopped. The clock keeps running. We're 3 picks behind. It made for a really bad viewing experience, I think, if you were watching it on TV.
I thought it was too chaotic after a while. And I love the draft. I watch it just
Yeah.
like nonsense. I love it's just too chaotic after a while. All right. Let's get to the meat and potatoes. This is what people want to hear. They want to hear from Luke Easterling. Let's start with your Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I thought it was the steal of the draft. What are your thoughts? Ruben Bain, 15 to the Buccaneers.
Yeah, it's one of those picks that's like, everything else they do is fine. Like, whatever they do, I'm going to come away from this draft happy when that happened, because, I mean, he was the number 4 player on my board, Mark. He was the number 1 edge rusher in this draft, ahead of David Bailey, who went number 2 overall, by the way. And just, this is where, like, I deviate from some of the draft analysts who are very, very, like, focused on what happens after the college football season, because I'm such a huge college football fan. Like, I love watching college football, and I don't understand how you can come away from that season that Ruben Bain just had. If you watched from the first game to the last game, that playoff run that he had, and you come away thinking that there's something about his arm measurements that mean that he wasn't the most dominant defensive player in college football last year, I'm just like, guys, what are we doing here? Like, what are we doing? Like, obviously I'm thrilled because I'm a Bucs fan and he dropped to the Bucs. So I don't like whatever, but like, if you watch that man play football, there aren't 2 or 3 defensive players in college football who had a better season than he did last year. There's just not. And so you can say all you want. I'm even seeing people like the last couple of days talking about like, oh, he's maybe an 8 or 10 sack guy, but he'll never be like, what are you talking about? What are you talking about? I don't understand. Like, who thinks that he's just a high floor guy who's going to be pretty okay, that he'll never be a dominant rusher? That's all he was at Miami. That's all he was at Miami. And it's not like he did it in the MAC, no offense to the MAC, but like, or in the FCS or whatever. That man was playing the best teams in the country in the college football playoff, and he was the best player on the field. Like, again, I'm happy with it because I'm a Bucs fan, but the people who continue even after the fact to knock the fact that he'll be like a decent player but not a great one, I just don't know. I don't know what they're basing that on, because it sure as hell ain't what he did on the field last year.
I keep saying this about him, and I said it all last fall. I watched every Hurricanes game. He's a wrecking ball. He is pure chaos to any offensive line. He was fantastic, and I loved. And I know you're like, put it into my veins. You like when he ran right up to the podium, did not give a damn about looking in the mirror. Did you like that? He's got that chip on his shoulder. And did you get flashbacks of Warren Sapp from 30 years ago?
100%, man. And honestly, I think you can judge a lot about your team's draft pick by how angry your other team's fans are about it. And if you looked especially in the NFC South, Panthers, Falcons, Saints fans were all like, oh no. Not only did they get Ruben Bain, but now he's pissed off. Now he's going to take it out on everybody else, which means us twice a year. I'm thrilled about it, man. I think this guy is going to be a great one. Obviously, this franchise this franchise knows what a defensive player, a really good one, looks like. And I think he could be one of the greats, man. I really, really do.
The stat that kind of blew my mind, I want your thoughts on this, because if you don't know, Luke and I will talk Buccaneers football during the fall. Honestly, they haven't had a real sack artist, if you want to put it that term, since Shaq Barrett in 2019.
Yep.
Is that for real when you think about the stats of the last half decade or so?
Yeah, and again, it shows you how different Todd's defense can be when you have that guy, right? Is that when you have the guy that can get home, and again, you can do it in different ways. Obviously, Shaq was a completely different player to Bain, right? He was not the power guy, but had great technique. He was so explosive off the edge, such a smart player. And Ruben just is so powerful. He's got great technique as well with his hands, but he's so strong and so powerful. So they're different rushers, but when you have that guy and again, if you watch Miami tape, it's as much about what he did to get his own sacks as what he did to create them for other people, right? He created so many disruptive plays that ended up, and again, I think that's part of why Akeem Mesidor had such a great season, such a high productive season, because everybody wanted to stop Ruben Bain. Mesidor got one-on-ones all day long, and he won a lot of them because he's a really good player. But he was just constantly forcing quarterbacks to run for their lives and into his teammates all the time. And I just think that's what he's going to bring. I think it's a great fit for Todd's scheme. He's going to use him on all those stunts and twists and wrecking people out of the way just to create violence, create chaos in the pocket. And quarterbacks hate that. Again, I never played at a super high level, but I played enough to know that, like, even if you don't get the sack, if you're just putting bodies at my feet and like knocking people around and making me escape and leave, quarterbacks hate that stuff. And so I just, again, for what this team needed at that position, but just in general for the mentality of that defense, he is exactly what this defense needed.
All right, we're here at Luke Easterling, Athlon Sports. Go to the website, athlonsports.com, for the latest on the NFL draft, and especially this guy's 8,000-word recap grades of all the teams. All right, if you go to the Bucs, you love the Bain pick. We all do.
Yeah.
Biggest steal, you wrote defensive back Keontae Scott, 115 overall pick. Why do you like this one?
Well, again, if you watched Miami play last year, Keontae Scott, I mean, that dude was all over the place. He's a like a nickel slot kind of, he can play corner, but he's really that what they call the star position, which is that like Jalen Ramsey can play safety, can play corner, can play like basically like a nickel linebacker who can blitz and do all these things. He's 4.3 speed, man. He ran a 4.33. Like he's lightning fast. The play everybody remembers is against Ohio State, right? Where he blows through Jeremiah Smith, who's the number 1 player in next year's draft, by the way. Blows through that guy and just picks off a screen pass and takes it to the house. Like the instincts, the athleticism, the explosiveness to close on that. But he's just such a smart player. He had 5 sacks last year as a defensive back. Bucs fans know how valuable that is after Rondé Barber's career. Guess what? All 5 of those sacks, he was lined up right next to who? Reuben Bain Jr. So you tell me Todd Bowles is going to get to line those 2 guys up and throw some blitz packages at people again? Like, I'm just so excited about what he brings. He was the 61st player on my board, a second-round grade. They got him at, 115 or 116 in the 4th round? Like, just a fantastic. And again, I knocked Akeem Mesidor because the Bucs were tied to him at 15 overall because he was 25 years old. And I'm like, man, that's really rich for a 25. Keontae Scott is 24, about to turn 25. But that's what you do with a 4th round pick. I'm fine with that. Like that, you just spend a 4th round pick on a guy who's going to be a perfect scheme fit and make an immediate impact. That's fine. I'm fine with that. I'm absolutely fine with that. Great pick.
Okay, and then biggest reach, 185. Bauer Scott, tight end. Why was this a reach in your eyes?
Well, again, and this is me making a reach. Like I'm making a reach to call this a reach just because I did a top 300 board. Bauer Sharp wasn't on it, but that's just because he didn't have a ton of pass catching film to evaluate. Like they just didn't throw him the ball very much at LSU. But then he goes to the Shrine game and he's winning one-on-ones. He's like the tracking data shows he was running at like 21, almost 22 miles an hour. That's flying, like especially for a guy as big as he is. And so I see the vision. And this is why again, like I'll be the first person to admit what we do in the media when we're like ranking and stacking these boards is not anywhere close to what the teams are doing. Like it's not, I think it's a helpful tool for fans to kind of have a general idea of how we view these players, but it's just not the same thing. Teams are doing this on a very scheme specific basis. They're doing it on a very like, this is the role we need this guy to play in our offense. I ranked 300 players because I ranked them like in a very like macro 30,000 foot level. I'm pretty sure Jason Light said it last week flat out that they rarely rank more than like 150 guys because like they have a very specific, they have size thresholds. They have, character and injury flags that they'll put on guys that'll take them off the board that in the media, I'm knocking my microphone over. That's how excited I am about Reuben Bain, man. I'm knocking my microphone over.
It's okay. It's all right.
But listen, that's what so when people get like people like me, when it comes to the end of the day, like, yes, I'm going to do the grades and I'm going to tell you like based on my board, I didn't have Bauer Sharp ranked at all. So at 185, that feels like a reach to me. But we have to understand we're doing apples and oranges here. Like we have to be honest about the exercise. Like I'm not saying they reached in the fact that like they don't have a role for this guy and he can't be like, obviously he's a great athlete. They clearly have a plan for him and he blocks his ass off, which is really what they need at tight end. Like bringing back Cade Otton, who's he's well-rounded, but he's not an elite receiver and he's not an elite blocker. I think Bauer Sharp gives him that blocker when they're in 12 personnel that can be that inline tight end and definitely set the edge as a blocker. But I really think he's got untapped potential as a receiver because they just really didn't throw him the ball at LSU, but he's clearly an athlete. He clearly can catch it because we saw it during those Shrine game practices. So even though I called that a reach technically on my board, it's just we're comparing apples to oranges with every reach that I have in there just because it's how I view the player versus how the team does. And it's a different exercise.
Okay, you grade the Buccaneers. You gave them an A overall. So if you're a Bucs fan, you're going to like that from Luke. All right, then I will just go right over to the Jaguars. Okay, I get it. You take a tight end at 185th pick. No one understands the pick, second round for the Jaguars. Who is this tight end? Because he had no stats in college after a while.
Yeah, again, man, you should try to just speak to James Gladstone about it because I feel like he's the only person that can explain most of their draft class because I think most of us in the media were very, very puzzled by just about everything he did. I guess that the time will tell who's right, I guess, but I mean, Boerkircher was a late round guy to me, man. He was a day 3 guy. They took him with their first. And again, as someone who's just, this is my job to evaluate this and analyze this. Like it's so much more important to not screw up your first few picks when you don't have a first round pick.
Yeah.
Like that's the first pick they made. And they took a guy that I had graded in the 5th, 6th round range at 56 or 54 or whatever it was. And so again, I know they've got their own plan, just like I just said with the Bucs, but that one was, I mean, arguably the biggest reach of the entire draft. I mean, Ty Simpson is up there, but like that pick might be the most puzzling one I saw all weekend long that wasn't Ty Simpson.
I don't understand the pick. Like you said, you had Travis Hunter. You took him last year, so no first-round pick. You should still be judged on that. Then this guy put up like 15 catches last year, and you're like, what? What is this pick? So overall, you were very harsh. You gave them a D. And why overall why are you giving them the D? Because of what you just said?
Yeah, well, I mean, it was that. I loved the Pregnon pick. Like they came back in that with the 3rd round, and then I'm gonna bring up the Jaguars results real quick because I feel like there were other picks that I just was like they kept. I mean, Regis was the same thing. He was a late round guy. They took him with the next pick that they had in the 3rd round. Emmanuel Pregnon, I think, was a great pick. He was a top 50-ish guy for me. So to get him at 88, I thought was a really great pick. He's a guy that can plug into guard right away. But it's just like every single player they took was like 2 or 3 rounds ahead of where I had them graded. Boerkircher, Regis, Husky, Williams, Koziel. Josh Cameron is the one other guy that I really felt was a decent value. I really liked his game. He's kind of a running back body receiver who's really, really fun. I think he's going to be a fun guy to watch in rookie camp and training camp. So I liked that. That was another bargain that they got to kind of make up for it. But like almost every other pick on here was like those last 3 guys weren't on my top 300 at all. And everybody else except for Pregnon and Cameron were like literally 2 or 3 rounds ahead of where I had them. So like overall, the class was just for me, again, reach after reach after reach. And again, to compare it to the Bucs pick of like Bauer Sharp, like sure, was it a reach, but it was in the 6th round. So like, who cares? It's a 6th round pick. You make that pick in the 6th round. You don't make it in the top 60, especially when you don't have a first round pick. So that's why the whole approach was compared to how I had them ranked. Again, I know it's all subjective. I'm not saying it's not. I completely get it. But there's a reason that everyone else in the draft analyzing world is saying the same thing about their draft class this morning.
All right, let's end with the Dolphins then. We're here at Luke Easterling, Athlon Sports. Go to athlonsports.com to check out his latest article. You got the Dolphins with a B. What did you think of Caden Proctor in the first round, especially when the Dolphins could have taken Reuben Bain?
That's the problem. Like, and I feel this way about Ty Simpson with the Rams too. Like, we spent all weekend bagging on poor Ty Simpson for things that have nothing to do with Ty Simpson. Like, it's not a him thing, right? It's not his problem. For anything, he landed in a perfect spot, right? You get to go learn from Matt Stafford. You get to be in the offense. It's a great fit. It's not about that. It's about the Rams and where they are and what they could have had and where that franchise is and the fact that he won't help them win a Super Bowl this year, I don't think. And so at least they hope he doesn't, right? They hope Matthew Stafford doesn't get hurt.
Yeah.
Same thing when the Bucs took Kyle Trask the year after they won the Super Bowl. Like, why are you making that pick? You need somebody to help you win now. And then they didn't win the Super Bowl, and you got to wonder that. But no, with the Dolphins, like I think I said it, like it's hard to lose the draft when you have 4 million picks like the Dolphins did. But I thought they used them really, really well, man. There are a couple of reaches on here, but the thing about Proctor, and I'll go back to what I said about Ty Simpson, it's not about Caden Proctor. The reason I don't like this pick has nothing to do with Caden Proctor. I love the player. I think he's got as much potential as any offensive tackle in this draft. Obviously, with those physical tools that he has, he's a ridiculous athlete. He's so strong. He's so powerful. If he can be consistent, if he can polish the technique, if he can keep the weight at a good spot that he's comfortable and feels, that he can be the best version of himself athletically, but with the power, if he can maintain that, which again, go to talk to anybody in that program. He started off the year really, really bad. And then he said that a couple of his old teammates reached out to him that were in the NFL and were like, hey, man, you look real slow. Like, you got to pick it up. Like, you got to get it together. And he did, to his credit. Like, he busted his ass and he got in better shape and he played a lot better by the end of the season. And so I think Miami thinks that because that work ethic is clearly there, there's a commitment to be the best version of what he can be. I understand why they made the pick. I don't understand why they did it instead of kicking Caleb Downs or Reuben Bain. Like, that's the thing that I think Dolphins fans will look back and be like, man, if Caden Proctor becomes as good as he can possibly be, I just don't know if it will outweigh passing on Caleb Downs, who I thought was the best player in this draft, regardless of position, and Ruben Bain, who I thought was the fourth best player in this draft, regardless of position. That's the problem, is it'll always be compared to who you didn't take. And while that's completely unfair to Caden Proctor, that's how we'll always look at it.
Okay, biggest steal is it Kyle Lewis, 138 linebacker. What did you like about this pick?
Yeah, I had him, I think, in the 70s on my board. So I just see so many similarities, and this is high praise for me. I hate pro comparisons because it's not fair to like compare to a guy. But this is kind of what Levante David was coming out. When he was at Nebraska, he was that undersized, like, yeah, he's making a lot of plays all over the field, but like, where do you play him? Because he's too small to stay at linebacker, might not be athletic enough in space to move to safety, can't really move him in the slot. We don't know what to do with him. The Bucs knew damn sure what to do with him, and they took him and made him a Hall of Famer, in my opinion. So Kyle Lewis is the same way, where he's like that kind of safety-ish body, but he's just a rocket, man. He flies all over the field. He's such a smart, instinctive player. He knows he's one step ahead of everything, and he can kick out into the slot and cover guys. He's so great in space, so he can do zone, he can do man. I thought he should have been a day 2 pick easy. So to get him in the 4th round, and not only that, to stack him with Jacob Rodriguez at linebacker, and to get those 2 guys for the future. I know you got Jordan Brooks, but he's getting banged up too much. To be able to kind of pass the torch from that guy to those 2 as you're, when you're in nickel and you only have those 2 linebackers on the field, Jacob Rodriguez and Kyle Lewis, wouldn't be surprised if that's that pair for the next 10 years, because they complement each other well in terms of the skill set. And I thought the value for both of them was fantastic.
I love the Rodriguez pick. I love it. I think he's going to be great for the Dolphins. I really do. All right, I'll let you go. I will bring you back on when we know the schedule release, okay, yes, which is also a holiday for us. Check out athlonsports.com. My man, thanks for your help and have a great day, all right?
Hey, you too, man. Take care.